So I started racing when I was 13 years old, and this all started off from, I blame my father actually. He had a couple of friends who were in the pub one evening and said, boys, why don't we find a failed MOT, Ford Escort Mark II, and race around the field? And then basically one afternoon, his friends' wives were thinking, oh, this is a bit unfair. They're going out having fun on the weekend and we're stuck here at home. So he said, oh, let's go and race. And my mum didn't want to come up and race. So Dad said, well, Tom, you know, I'm the eldest son, can get in the car and race instead of my mum. So there I am, 8.5 years old, drifting Ford Escort Mark IIs around the field against my dad's friends' wives. And I got the bug from there. And then I was the youngest person in the world to get a racing car licence at 13. And I'm 37 now, and the rest was history. I think the race I'll never forget was when I was racing Qatar, which is, it was in the World Touring Car Championship, the last round of the year back in 2017. I ended up taking the overall Independent Drivers' Championship, and I finished third overall in the FIA World Touring Cars. And I cannot tell you what a fantastic race it was. I went from 5th to 1st, overtook my teammates and the same kids as me, and it was the race of my life. And to this day, I don't think I've had a race which has been as good as that. It meant so much, because not only for the championship, but also the way I drove through the field and beating my teammate was a real big thing for me. And I will never ever forget it. My favourite World Touring Car track is all of them. They're all brilliant. But if I was to go back to one tomorrow, it would definitely be the Neuschleife-Ring in Germany. It is the best racing track in the world. It's the most dangerous, probably why I like it the most, and it's the fastest. And I actually hold the lap record around the circuit, and it was a fantastic weekend. I got a double podium, and Tagur gave me a brand new watch engraved in the back, Tom Chilton, lap record holder of the Neuschleife-Ring, and I wear it to this day. I absolutely love the watch. And the circuit, when you're driving it on the limit, is like nothing else. There's not one point where you're not really drifting or in the air, 4 wheels in the air, taking off. Like, you're literally like this high in the air sometimes. And you land, and even though you go sideways in 6th gear, you don't want to lift, because then it gets worse. So I then just control it with the left foot brake while you're drifting to front wheel drive. And you just got to set the cars up really loose, and it was a fantastic lap, and that was my favourite track in the world. Oh, favourite experience off track is probably got to be when I went to the FIA Prize Giving Awards at the old King Louis XVI's home in France, which was the Palace of Versailles. And I remember when we arrived, they said, sir, could you just please go up the stairs and turn right and follow the room round until you get round to the hall where we'll be giving out the prizes. I went, certainly. Went up the stairs. 30 minutes I was walking. I don't know, 27 minutes I was walking to get to the giant auditorium where we went there to pick up our prizes. And this is the FIA Prize Giving Award. So Lewis Hamilton was picking up award, Sebastian Vettel was picking up award, and then you've got obviously like Sebastian Loeb, so it's everyone in the FIA World Touring Cars, Formula One, World Rally Car Championship, Formula X, like everything which was a FIA World Championship. The best people in the world were there. And I was there picking up my blue globe, which is in my prized position in my cabinet in my lounge, hoping my kids don't try and knock it out. 100%. So when you're involved in motorsport, obviously we're driving absolutely flat out, but safety is a massive part of it. If we didn't have safety, it'd be, I could be dead. I'm going to be completely honest. Yeah. I could either burn alive on fire or being crushed to death. And safety on the roads is very, very important. Obviously on the roads we drive an awful lot slower, which really does help. But the cars are always evolving with safety. The barriers on the roads are always evolving. But it doesn't mean that you're not ever going to get hurt, because accidents happen. And even if it's not your fault, accidents happen. And when it comes to my children, nothing is more important than the safety of my children. I've looked at car seats forever. What is the best car seat to get? And when it comes to a child, they have very weak necks. So 100% you need head support. And if you ever do hit a car in front or hit the brakes hard because someone runs in front of you, You don't want them to be having a lap belt. You know, they think that it's acceptable that you can just have a normal, you know, seat belt when you get sort of past 6 years old and you can have a booster seat. What does a booster seat even do? I think it makes it slightly tighter on where the waistband goes to maybe stop you sliding out the top.
Yeah.
But you can still fall out. You can still, when I've got 3 or 4 children, they're still going to all hit heads. You know what I mean? Like it's not acceptable behaviour to be allowed to have a booster seat. I really don't think it. And I wanted something which is the safest seat in the world, and Multimac builds me a seat which is perfect for my needs. I know that my children have a 5-point harness, they're not going anywhere, and they've got a head support. And for me, that is the best car seat in the world. So back in 2018, I needed a Multimac, and I ended up searching Google on Safari on my iPhone for hours at night looking for seats. And there's loads of different makes of seats, tons of makes of seats, but there's only one which is like 50 plus kilos of solid steel, which improves the strength of your chassis, and all your children can't bump heads. The seat belts are long enough to get your kids in, and it was Multimac. And I literally, it's just through me doing a lot of research on the internet, found Multimac. It's a good question. So Bristol Street Motors, my sponsor, are a brilliant sponsor. I rang them up straight away and they provided me with a Hyundai Tucson, and I said, I've just had a baby boy, I've now got 4 kids. Please can you upgrade me to a 7-seater? Literally next day I've got a brand new Hyundai Santa Fe, which is a fantastic 7-seater. It's actually got a higher safety rating by 3% over the latest Land Rover Discovery, so it's actually a very safe 7-seater. But I soon realised that it's not that safe because the rear seats aren't ISOFIX. As good as the car is, no 7-seater has ISOFIX in the rear seats. So there's always going to be one child. Which child am I going to put in? Which one do I not care as much about? Which one do I want to put in the boot? It doesn't work for me. I want them all to be safe. I love them all equally. And also, not just the safety point, I actually went and then got 3 car seats from Halfords. The best ones I could find. And I then soon realised that you can't actually get the seat belts plugged in, because when you actually put, even if it's a booster seat or a normal car seat with the harnesses which go to 12 years old, which by the way the seats, the belts in it are long enough to actually plug them in past 5 years old, so it's ridiculous. But you can't get your hands between the sides to put the belts on. I was late for the school run this morning because I physically was trying to twist the seat out sideways to get behind them to click the belt in to twist them back round. It was ridiculous. So I came here today, Multimac's headquarters, to get a 4-seater because I want them all to be safer, and also gives me a quicker school run because they can plug in their belts in 3 seconds. And I now have a giant boot again to put the pram and all the shopping, so it's perfect.